The last thing I ever said to my wife was, check the kitchen table. Then I blocked her number. After 12 years of marriage, that's how it ended. Not with a fight, not with screaming, just silence and divorce papers sitting next to her morning coffee mug. But to understand why I ghosted my cheating wife, you have to understand how I caught her and how calm I was when I did. My name is Eric. I'm 38. For 12 years, I believed I had a solid marriage. We weren't perfect, but we were stable. Or at least I thought we were. About 3 months ago, something shifted. My wife, Lauren, started guarding her phone like it contained national secrets. Late-night work calls, sudden gym memberships, new dresses she never wore around me, the classic signs. But here's the thing. I didn't confront her. I observed. One Friday night, she told me she had a team dinner. I smiled, kissed her forehead, and said, have fun. Instead of going out with friends like she thought, I followed her. Not proud of it, but instinct was screaming. She didn't drive to her office. She drove to a wine bar downtown, and she wasn't meeting her team. She was meeting him. They hugged like people who had already crossed a line. Not awkward, not hesitant, comfortable. That's when something inside me shut off. No dramatic music, no explosion of anger, just clarity. I went home before she did. When she walked in 2 hours later, she kissed me and said, dinner ran long. I almost admired the performance. That night, I didn't sleep. Instead, I hired a lawyer. Over the next few weeks, I gathered proof quietly. Screenshots, hotel receipts she forgot to delete, calendar inconsistencies. I didn't scream. I didn't accuse. I built my exit. Turns out, she'd been seeing him for 8 months. 8 months of lies. 8 months of sleeping next to me like nothing was wrong. The worst part? He was someone from her company, a senior manager, married too. That detail will matter later. The day I confronted her. I didn't actually confront her. I packed a bag, printed the divorce papers, signed them, and placed them neatly on the kitchen table. On top, I left a sticky note. Check the kitchen table. Then I walked out, blocked her on everything. Phone, social media, email, complete silence. The first call came 10 minutes later, then 20, then 50. Voicemails poured in, texts from unknown numbers, emails from her work address. I didn't answer, because here's what cheaters expect. A fight, tears, begging. They don't expect absence. By the third day, mutual friends were reaching out. Apparently, she was devastated, confused, claiming I had overreacted. Overreacted. That word made me laugh. She wasn't sorry she cheated. She was shocked I didn't stay. Here's where it gets interesting. A week after I left, her affair partner's wife found out. Not because of me. Because Lauren panicked and tried to officially date him once she thought she was free. He refused. Apparently, he never planned on leaving his wife. Cheating failed. And suddenly, Lauren wasn't empowered. She was alone. But here's the twist. While sorting through joint financial records for the divorce, I discovered something else. Lauren had used her company credit card for some of their dates. Hotels, dinners, that's corporate fraud. And company policy at her firm was strict about workplace relationships, especially between management and employees. Remember when I said that detail would matter? It mattered. For days I debated revenge or peace, expose her or move on. I kept hearing her voice in my head the night she came home from that wine bar. Dinner ran long. So calm, so effortless. That wasn't a mistake. That was calculated. And suddenly, I didn't feel guilty about what I was about to do. I sent an anonymous email to her company's HR department. Attached documentation, receipts, dates, names. Then I sat back. I didn't threaten her, didn't message her, just watched. 3 days later, she was placed on administrative leave. Her affair partner, too. Infidelity in marriage is painful, but infidelity tied to workplace misconduct? That's career ending. That's when she finally reached me. A new number, her voice shaking. You're trying to ruin my life. No, I ruined nothing. I just stopped protecting her lies. She cried, said she made a mistake, said she was lonely, said she thought I'd never actually leave. That's the part that stung. She thought I was predictable, safe, too loyal to walk away. She underestimated me. But here's where you think the story ends. Cheater gets caught. Revenge served. Divorce finalized. Right? Not exactly. Because 2 weeks later, I found out something that changed everything. And it didn't come from her. It came from the man she cheated with. And what he revealed made me question whether I was a villain in someone else's story. When her affair partner called me, I almost didn't answer. Unknown number. Late evening. I figured it was Lauren again, trying to break through the silence. It wasn't. It was him, the man from the wine bar, the married senior manager who thought my wife was worth risking everything for until she wasn't. His voice didn't sound angry. It sounded tired. I need to tell you something, he said, because this is about to get worse. I didn't respond. I just listened, and what he said next made my stomach drop. He claimed the affair didn't start the way I thought it did. According to him, Lauren had been some vulnerable employee swept up by a powerful manager. She pursued him, aggressively, flirty messages, private lunches, suggestive jokes during late meetings. He admitted he eventually crossed the line, but then he said something I didn't expect. She told me you were emotionally abusive. The word hit me like a slap. Abusive? He said she described me as controlling, distant, cold, said she was trapped in a loveless marriage. That's why he justified it. That's why he believed her. I felt anger rising, not at him, but at the narrative she had built behind my back. For 12 years, I worked overtime to provide. I stayed loyal. I showed up, and in her version of events, I was the villain. But he wasn't finished. He told me that once she realized I had filed for divorce, her entire energy shifted. She panicked, not because she loved him, because she was terrified of losing her lifestyle, the house, the stability, the image. She asked him to move in with her, he admitted, the same week you left. I felt sick, not heartbroken, just disgusted. I had ghosted her thinking I was escaping betrayal, but I hadn't realized how replaceable she thought I was. Then came the real twist. He said HR had already contacted him. An internal investigation was happening. But before things went further, Lauren tried to protect herself. She told HR that he pressured her, that she felt coerced, that she feared retaliation if she ended things. My chest tightened, because suddenly this wasn't just revenge anymore. This was becoming dangerous. False allegations in a corporate investigation can destroy careers permanently. And I realized something terrifying. If she could rewrite our marriage to make me the villain, what was she capable of rewriting next? 2 days later, I received an email from her company's legal department. They wanted to speak to me. Apparently, my anonymous complaint had triggered a formal review, and my name had surfaced during interviews. I had a choice: stay silent or tell the truth. For a moment, I hesitated. This was no longer about divorce or pride. This could escalate. But then I remembered the sticky note. Check the kitchen table. The calm way she lied. The way she underestimated me. So I told the truth. I provided documentation. Timeline proof. Messages she had sent him first. Hotel bookings under her account. I didn't exaggerate. I didn't attack. I simply presented facts. 3 weeks later, the outcome came. He was demoted. She was terminated. Not because of the affair alone, but because forensic review showed she falsified expense reports and manipulated internal communications during the investigation. She didn't just cheat. She doubled down, and it cost her everything. That's when she showed up at my apartment, unannounced. No makeup, no confidence, just exhaustion. You ruined my life, she whispered. I looked at her calmly. No, I said, you just ran out of lies. She started crying, not dramatically, but quietly, like someone who finally realized the consequences were real. And here's the part one didn't expect. I didn't feel victorious. I felt empty, because revenge doesn't heal betrayal. It just exposes it. The divorce finalized a month later. No dramatic courtroom battle. No shouting. Just signatures. She moved in with her sister. Lost her position. Lost the man she thought would replace me. And I moved forward. But here's the final twist. 6 months later, I ran into her at a grocery store. She looked different. Humbled. Softer. We made awkward small talk. Then she said something that caught me off guard. "I never thought you'd leave," she admitted. "I thought you'd fight for me." That sentence revealed everything. She didn't cheat because she wanted someone else. She cheated because she wanted to test my limits. She wanted proof I would stay no matter what. And when I didn't, her entire illusion collapsed. Here's the truth no one tells you in cheating stories. Sometimes revenge isn't the harshest punishment. Indifference is. The moment I ghosted her, I took away the power she thought she had. Not by screaming, not by begging, but by walking away without looking back. And that silence, that's what she'll remember. Not the HR investigation, not losing her job, but the day she came home and found divorce papers waiting instead of a fight. Because sometimes the strongest move you can make is choosing not to play the game at all. A year passed. I thought that was the end of it. New apartment, new routine, therapy, gym, quiet evenings that didn't feel heavy anymore. For the first time in a long time, my life felt stable, not performative, not tense, just peaceful. Then one afternoon, I received a certified letter from her. My first instinct was to throw it away, but curiosity won. Inside was a short note. No accusations, no manipulation, no blame, just honesty. She wrote that losing her job forced her to confront patterns she had ignored for years, that she always needed external validation to feel worthy, that she tested people because she was afraid they would eventually leave anyway. "So I left first," she admitted. That line hit differently, not because it excused anything, but because it explained something. She didn't cheat because I was lacking. She cheated because she was insecure. And in her mind, if she could control the ending, it wouldn't hurt as much. But control is an illusion. Consequences aren't. The letter ended with one sentence. "You walking away was the first real boundary anyone ever set with me." I folded the paper slowly. For months, I thought ghosting her was cold, ruthless. Now I understood it wasn't revenge. It was self-respect. I didn't respond, not out of anger, but because closure doesn't require a final conversation. Sometimes growth happens separately, and sometimes the person who betrayed you becomes the reason you finally stop betraying yourself. That was the real ending, not the divorce papers, not the investigation, but the moment I realized I deserved peace more than I ever needed revenge. 2 years later, I almost didn't recognize her. It was at a mutual friend's birthday party. The kind of gathering I used to avoid because I didn't want the awkward questions. But enough time had passed. The wounds had scarred over. She walked in quietly. No dramatic entrance. No tension in the room. Just normal. Lauren looked healthier. Not in a glamorous way. In a grounded way. Simpler clothes. Softer posture. Less performance. We made eye contact across the room. There was no rage in me anymore. Just distance. She walked over slowly, like someone approaching a memory. "Hey," she said. "Hey." For a moment, we just stood there. Two people who once shared a house, a bed, a decade of routines, now strangers with history. "I wanted to thank you," she said. That wasn't what I expected. For what? For not destroying me when you could have. I almost laughed. "I didn't destroy you," I said. "I just stopped saving you." She nodded. "I know. That's what I mean." She told me she went back to school. Different company. Different field. Therapy every week. She said losing everything forced her to finally sit alone with herself. No distractions. No validation. "Just me," she said. And for the first time, she didn't sound defensive. She sounded accountable. That surprised me more than the cheating ever did. Then she said something that closed a chapter one didn't realize was still open. "You weren't cold. You were stable." And I mistook stability for boredom. That sentence explained years of confusion in one breath. Some people don't know how to live without chaos, so they create it. We talked for maybe 10 minutes. No flirting, no nostalgia, just two adults acknowledging what happened. When she walked away, I didn't feel pain. I felt gratitude, because if she hadn't cheated, I would still be living in a marriage where I was valued for what I provided, not who I was. A few months after that party, I met someone new, and here's the difference. With her, there are no tests, no games, no fear-based drama, just honesty. The real twist in all of this? Ghosting my cheating wife wasn't the end of my story. It was the beginning of my standards. And sometimes the person who betrays you is the one who accidentally pushes you into the life you were supposed to have all along.